Welcome to today's episode of the Support Insights podcast. I'm your host, Bryony Mulkern, Community Manager at Centresum. Today, my guest is Zack Bryson from Awardco. Zack, thank you very much for joining me. So you started at Awardco 4 years ago now, and you are now the Global Head of Customer Service.
That is correct.
What has that journey looked like for you so far?
I just started as a basic support rep. I was 27 at the time. I think if you start off in CS with a love for CS, you're going to succeed. And I love the space and I love the work. I love helping clients. And so I think that put me in a position to succeed. I rose quickly through the ranks. It took about 6 months for them to put me as the head of the department. I think they were kind of dying for leadership at that point. They had a lot of people wearing a lot of hats. I had an idea of the kind of people I wanted to hire to build the department that I thought was necessary to succeed within our company. And so after they let loose those reins was when I feel like we really started to take off. When I started, we had 20 employees 4 years ago, and now we have 400. For the last 2 years, I've just kind of been constructing the culture that I really wanted to implement to improve not only my life, but my employees' lives as well. And I feel like that's gone pretty well. And I think we've done a great job over here. And if you don't know, Awardco is an employee recognition platform where employers recognize their employees, they award them points, and they can spend them on the platform for something that they enjoy.
So you've started the team up, you've built it up from scratch, and you're someone who's really passionate about customer service. So you've been able to lead, not to dictate, which makes a huge difference when you're leading a team.
Oh, 100%. If you are someone who is just trying to get as much as you can from your employees in order to make yourselves look good, that's not going to go well. And your employees are going to hate their lives. And hopefully you hate yourself a little bit too. When you're looking to solve issues that are causing client problems or extending client solve times, it's important to actually maintain relationships internally throughout your company. You never know when you're going to need to cash in a favor down the road to help solve a problem. And so the first thing I like to do is when we see something that is turning from a one-touch ticket into a multi-day long solve, is I like to identify, can my team solve it themselves? Is this something that we can build a process for? And if so, what does that look like? And oftentimes when you need that help, you need good relationships to have people who want to help you. And there are a litany of examples that come to my mind that I've had to deal with where that's been the case, where the quickest way to find a solution is help somewhere else.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And that's something that we champion here at Centresum is cross-department relationships, because everything affects the customer at the end of the day. If something changes in the product, if something changes in the offering, then it affects the customer. And so your customer service department will know about it. So encouraging those relationships where you can work together in making resolutions for the customer is so important.
Especially when, product doesn't always ship a 100% functioning software sometimes. And who has to deal with that is support.
So how do you get to resolutions while maintaining a good relationship with them?
It's finding the appropriate times to push back. You're not going to be able to quicken resolution times for every problem that you encounter because sometimes it's just not going to be possible. And so you have to identify the areas that you believe can see movement and not try to attack each one the same way. So the first thing I do is I allow an agent to assign me any case internally and then add a follow-up if they believe that there can be a quick solution found. And so I get funneled cases on a daily basis where the agent is handling the issue with the customer, but they are looking to see if there is a future solution that can be found in the background to alleviate the problem that the customer is seeing. My agents are living in the wild, as I like to say, every single day. And a lot of times they come up with the best ideas. And so having an open communication to your team and building out a place where they're comfortable feeling that they can forward you a possible solution to a problem, whether or not their solution isn't possible, but for those times that it is, like it can really help the customer. So just having that open communication and setting a system in place where your agents can forward you cases and also suggest possible solutions, whether that be internally in the product or externally in the way you speak to the customer is one of the most important things, I think.
That's great. And that is so key in your example, because agents feeling like they can proactively look for solutions, not just for that ticket, but to say, oh, this is an opportunity to do something to help customers in the future who might encounter this. And the fact that even though they might not always have the correct answer, they still always feel like they can come to you with their suggestions is
Yes.
a really important in your relationship.
And
That's
when you
great.
talk about quickening resolution times, this is also something that's going to be company specific. The things that work at Awardco might not work somewhere else due to the nature of the software or the nature of the service that we're providing. When you're using a software that is specific and has multiple third-party vendors involved, it's really hard to narrow down a solution that would work for everyone when you're communicating with 100 parties.
Yeah, that makes sense, because there's going to be no one size fits all approach in your industry, especially when you're global as well, because it's going to differ. You've said, people's IT departments allow them to do different things. The different countries will have different vendors.
And it's like, you look at an e-gift card, you would think an e-gift card should be available to you instantly. Whereas for our overseas clients, that is not the case.
It must be frustrating for you as well, as someone who really cares about customer service.
100%. Yeah.
Do you have any small pieces of advice that would be good starting points for people who want to promote this sort of collaborative approach?
I would say, don't try to take credit for every success that your department has. Allow your direct reports to shine as well. Allow for them to give suggestions and allow for them to get the credit when those suggestions create a positive solution. And so I would say, just be open to communication with your agents and create an official process for them to suggest changes, to suggest fixes to problems, because they are living in that live space with the clients every single day. They're in your software. And so they honestly have a lot of good ideas, and you should champion them and help them get those across the finish line when appropriate.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not possible now, especially where everyone's remote, for agents to be able to just go and tap their team lead or their head on the shoulder and be like, oh, hey, I've had an idea.
Yep.
So are you remote?
We're a hybrid. And so we utilize Slack a lot. That's our internal communication service. And I love Slack. I think Slack's a great option. And then we try to meet in office as often as possible.
Okay, awesome. So that way they have got the opportunity to go on Slack and say, oh, hey, Zack, this has happened. Do you think this could be an opportunity?
The overnight employees see some of the wildest concerns because they're usually communicating with our overseas clients. And we don't require the overnight employees to come into office. And so whenever I'm talking to them, it's usually at like 2 a.m. when I just happen to be awake. And they have all of these mad scientist ideas because they've been awake for 7 hours. They're just tired, and they have all these great options that they think they're coming up with. And I love having those conversations with those employees. They're some of the most fun and entertaining, and I love hearing their possible solutions to problems for our overseas clients, because it does take a lot of imagination to try and find solutions for those issues.
Yeah, absolutely. I recently did a podcast episode about the importance of sort of feedback and communication being everywhere. And they were saying about Slack as well for people who are in different time zones or working different shifts, because you can just brain dump on there and then everyone else can collaborate when they're awake.
So we launched a new support software recently. It was supposed to launch in January of this year, which was like 7 months ago, as you know. I was in Switzerland during the launch of this software, which is less than optimal. And I'm being forced to communicate to my department solely through Slack, which was harrowing at the time, but it worked. And it was really nice to see an option like work during such a tumultuous time, because it was not a smooth launch, but everything worked and everything ended up working, at least. And it was great to have that as a feature for us and our team.
Absolutely. And if you encourage that open communication, it can live on all platforms, whether you're in Switzerland or Australia or wherever. So that's brilliant.
It's great. I love it. I love my team. I love being there for my team and answering their questions and addressing their concerns, because at the end of the day, they're the ones who are actually helping the clients on a day-to-day basis. I take care of my team and they take care of the clients.
That's a great way of looking at it. And I imagine that feeds into my next question. Your agent attrition is only 7%. Is that right? And that's amazing.
Over the last 2 years, it's been about 7 and 8%.
So how have you achieved that then? Because I think the global industry standard is something like, what is it, 40%?
The first thing I do when I interview a potential agent, and this is for everyone that I interview, is I set expectations for the agent. And I also set expectations for them to have for me. And those expectations are, when are you going to get pay raises? What does success in my department look like for you? And I lay out basic goals for everyone that I'm interviewing, saying, hey, if you come in, if you perform well, and if you treat our clients exceptionally, you're going to get promoted. You're going to get pay raises. And that's all very upfront. Every time someone applies for a position, either in the department or somewhere else, and they don't get it. I sit them down, I give them the bad news, and then we plan a pathway forward together. I want to help everyone on my team grow as quickly as possible, even if that means leaving the department. It's not my job to keep my high performers in support for as long as possible. It's my job as a leader to get them to where they want to be if they've done a great service to me and our clients by performing well in their position. And I think having an attitude like that in a support department is going to be everything for you. When your employees feel like you have their back, and not only that you are actively trying to progress their careers, they don't want to leave. If you're running a CS department, you have to be a little more flexible on terms of what can and cannot happen with your team. You have to be more flexible with remote work, in my opinion. You have to be more flexible with the casualness of the atmosphere in the department, in my opinion. Every agent is an individual and a person, and will learn at their own pace. You can't expect everyone to have the exact same abilities straight off the bat. I was having a discussion with one of my team leads about an agent, and the agent was underperforming in terms of their numbers. And so I sat down with the team lead and I said, okay, you're right. This agent is doing about a third of the workload of everyone else in terms of total ticket numbers, but she has the highest satisfaction scores out of everyone in your team. Do we want to force her to take on a larger workload, but lessen the satisfaction and the service that our clients are getting from that agent? Having low ticket solvers is actually not a problem. It's actually a benefit as long as those low numbers are being solved very effectively. And it allows those others in the department to flourish.
And that's ultimately the goal, is providing a high level of service. You'd never want to sacrifice that for the sake of high numbers.
No.
Or at least I'd hope most people wouldn't. What would your advice be to other businesses who are looking to improve their agent retention?
Creating a space that they actually want to work in is the number one thing I would say. The head of the department should focus on taking care of employees, because then employees will take care of the clients. And that's how I look at my department. I take care of my people, they take care of the clients. Being proactive in rewarding your employees for their work is key.
Yeah, and that's what Awardco is all about. It's all about reward and recognition. So it makes sense that that's what you guys are all about internally as well.
Exactly. A lot of it is focused around that. We're an employee-centric based software. Like, that's what we do. We want to make employees feel welcomed in the workplace. We want them to feel recognized, and we want them to feel taken care of. It is a delicate balance to strike between trying to figure out what is best for your clients and what is best for your employees. And I would say that's something that I struggle with at times. You do need to push back on your employees' behalf often, but there are some times where that's not appropriate. And you need to identify the areas that you can push back in order to take care of your employees, and where you need to move forward to take care of your clients. I feel like that is a delicate balance that must be struck by whoever is in charge of the department.
Yeah, and it's beneficial for everyone, because if you're keeping your agents and they're going on to progress into other departments, customer service gives you so many skills that are interchangeable in other roles. So if you end up with someone in product, in tech, in people, in anywhere with that customer service background, you're going to have people in these departments who genuinely care about their colleagues, about the customers, and they're always going to put that at the heart of the work they do, which is just going to be fantastic for the business.
Exactly. One of the things that I bring up during every interview is where our agents have gone internally at Awardco. We have agents that are in product. We have agents that are in people ops. We have agents that have moved on to implementation and to account management. We've had agents move everywhere. And it's because we've created a space for them to evolve and to enjoy their work and to put forth their best efforts so they can showcase themselves as individuals to the other departments at Awardco.
Oh, that's fantastic. And you've instilled that when you've hired them. I suppose you've hired them based on their culture, based on their passion for what they do and their desire to do well. So it makes sense that they are going to end up being rock stars and doing well in other roles.
We're all people. You're going to come into work and you're going to feel 80% sometimes. We're never always going to feel 100%. And it's expected from your fellow agents to help you out on those days and for you to do the same for your fellow agents when they're feeling down as well. We all have problems. We have mental health issues, family issues, health concerns as well. I have Crohn's disease, so I understand the need to have flexibility in the workplace to deal with a problem like that. And that's something something that's passed down to my employees, and it's been
Yeah.
pretty great going forward. If you're a department head in customer service, just take care of your people. Make their lives as easy as possible, and you will never regret it. They will reward you for as long as you're in that position. I plan to stay in here for as long as possible. I love the space, so I hope I don't move anytime soon.
Yes, clearly in your blood.
It is.
My last question for you is, what is your favorite customer interaction from your time as an agent?
Oh, we talked about it in our first phone call. I had this trucker from North Dakota when I
Yes.
first started as a regular agent. His name is Donald. He wasn't tech savvy. He was this Midwestern 6-year-old, grandpa who was trying to redeem for e-gift cards on this software, and he had no idea how. And so I helped him out about that every time he'd call. And after about 4 or 5 months, he would ask for me every time he would call and say, "Hey, is Zach there? I want to talk to Zach." And it got to be that we were just really friendly with each other. He would ask me about my life, ask me about my parents. My parents were born in the 40s. So he loved to discuss with me their origin stories and where they came from, how they got to Utah. And then eventually his employer left Awardco. But for about a year after that, he'd call every 3 months just to check up on me, to see how I was doing and check on my career progress. Because he was there and he saw my whole progression from regular agent to department head. And I'll always look back on that fondly. I have no idea where Don is. He hasn't called in about a year and a half. I tried calling him the other day. He didn't answer, but I hope he's doing well wherever he is. And he has a friend out here in Utah if he ever wants to make his way out here.
Oh, that's so sweet. Those relationships are quite common in customer service. People don't realize how personal relationships you can make with your customers.
You really can.
And those interactions make such a difference to the customer as well. I think most companies recognize that now, but I remember there used to be quite a focus on getting an average call handling time that's not too high so that you can take other calls. And I hate that because you miss out opportunities to make relationships like these.
And when you force a conversation to end, you make the client feel like a problem to be solved. And you never want that. You want the client to feel like they're communicating to a human being that understands that they have a problem and behave with them in a friendly manner. There isn't anything really that's more enjoyable than a good interaction from human to human. I love that. I love having just a positive experience with someone I've never met, especially when they're coming from a place of frustration, like people usually are when they're contacting customer service.
Yeah. Oh, do you know, I used to have a Don when I was a customer service agent. She would contact us every month and she kept contacting me even after I'd progressed out of customer service and was working in marketing. And she actually was allowed to name her goddaughter. And what do you think she called her? Goddaughter? She named her goddaughter after me.
That's awesome. That is amazing.
I know.
I doubt very many people have stories like that where you're getting named after for your customer support service. So that means that it has to be in your blood.
Poor goddaughter, though. She's going to have everyone mispronouncing her name for the rest of her life. Well, thanks so much for your time on the podcast, Zach. It's been really lovely chatting to you.
Great talking to you as well. I love talking customer support with anyone. So it's been a good time.